Here with Camden Sesna to preview the upcoming Concordia Cross Country season, and quickly approaching early September will be the official start to the season. But you're out of your hometown of Kearney. How did you first, certainly not that far away, but how did you first learn about Concordia, and why was this the right place for you?
Yeah, I first heard about Concordia. One of my friends from high school on my high school cross country and track team actually had been in touch with Coach Beisel, so I kind of he told me a little bit about him. He's like, hey, this dude's a super great guy, the program's super great, you should check it out. So I filled out a recruiting questionnaire thing and got an email back from Coach, and we just kept in contact over the next I think that was at the end of my junior year. We kept in contact in my senior year, and then once I came on my first visit here, my senior year, when I stepped foot on campus, I just knew. I just had this feeling like this is where God wants me, and it just was this overwhelming feeling. I'm like, man, this is where I want to be. And so then once my senior year cross country was done, I committed, and ever since then I've had no regrets on coming here. So,
well, cross country certainly requires logging a lot of miles. During the summer, when you're getting ready for this, how do you kind of balance training with also trying to have a little bit of a break, because you're also coming off of outdoor track season too?
Yeah, and Coach does a great job of that. He gave us a 2-week break after outdoor was done, where we just didn't have to do any running, and then he slowly started building our mileage back up as the summer progressed. And so we started off just real easy mileage and some very light workouts, and then as the summer progressed, we got into our higher mileages and doing our harder workouts. And then this past week was our first peak mileage week, and then this week is a little bit of a deload week, and then next week we'll get back up to that peak mileage. So it's definitely over the summer was definitely a lot of making sure, just planning out the day right, to where, you know, get home from work and then you don't just sit down and pretty much zone yourself out for the day. You just get up and go run, get your workout done, and just finish out your day strong. So
you said peak mileage. What does that mean for you?
Yeah, I guess for me personally, my peak mileage is 60 miles a week, but each individual person, based on what they're comfortable with and what Coach thinks that it best suits them, he'll sit down with them and figure out where exactly they need to be, and then he's got this big spreadsheet that he sends out every week with everybody's exact mileage and workouts. So,
well, how did running become a passion for you? Because there's some people that just would hate running all the time. How does it become a passion for you?
Yeah, I guess I started running, I think my 8th grade year was my first year running cross country, and I was just a real skinny small guy. I had played football before then, and I had it set in my mind, I'm like, man, I want to play football. And of course, being a small skinny guy, you kind of that changes your mind pretty quick when you get hit hard a couple of times. It's like, man, that hurt. And so then I was like, I'll give cross country a shot. I had some friends on the team, and ever since then I was like, hey, I guess I'm okay at this. I can keep doing this, and it is a lot of hard work, but it's definitely a testament to the sport that we do, of how difficult it is, whether people realize it or not. So.
Well, looking at last season a little bit, I know you weren't as healthy as you wanted to be when the GPAC meet came around. What was the process like of moving through that and getting yourself right, I guess, for track? And I believe you were 2nd place in the steeplechase, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So what was that process like of getting back to competing at a high level?
Yeah. That's a great question. When I got injured during cross last year, it was a really tough time for me, because I had been doing good with running, and I was really happy with where things were at, where things were going, and then all of a sudden it got to the point where I pretty much couldn't run anymore for a couple months, and so we took it super light on all that. But during that time, I realized that I had turned running into something that I wasn't doing for enjoyment. I was doing it for success, and I had built up like an idol of success for myself. And then when I got hurt, I realized later that it was almost like a slap in the face from God. He's like, hey, wake up, you need to get back on track, get back to where I need you to be. And so then ever since I came back and started training over the winter, for indoor and outdoor, I've just been really focused on committing myself to enjoying running and enjoying everything in my everyday life and doing it for God, and keeping Him at the center of everything. And then since then, I mean, the training has just taken off for myself and for other guys around me. It's been great to get my legs back underneath me and be healthy again, and all thanks to God for that, because I was certainly in a low spot when it was taken away from me, but now I'm very comfortable with where I'm at with my running. So,
well, I know you, like you said, you don't want to focus just on the results. If you put in the process, the results, I think, kind of take care of themselves.
Yep.
But how does it motivate you guys, just knowing you want to be in a better place for conference this year as opposed to a year ago?
Yes. Last year definitely left a sour taste in a lot of our returners' mouths from that 6th place finish. But we knew we were a better team than what happened that day, and we're working to build on that. And our team motto this year is "Step Up," and that really goes not only necessarily on the cross-country course, but in the classroom and in your faith life too. But applying it to the cross-country course, it's really just about making sure we're holding each other accountable for everything we do, so that if something like what happens last year with injuries or bad days or whatever, to where one person can step up and fill that hole that might be left, and just to keep pushing each other to be the best that we can. But I think this year we definitely don't want what happened last year to happen again. So our main focus is just about becoming one as a team, and just feeding off of each other to get better. So.
And as a team, you've had about a week before a preparation before school even gets started. How important is that time, and how have you guys tried to maximize that as a team?
Yeah, this past week has been incredibly important. I mean, it's looking at this year, what we've done in this first week compared to last year and then the year before for me. And I guess it's kind of hard to compare it to last year because with COVID we couldn't really do that much. But this past week has been incredibly important. We've gotten to know everybody super well, and it just feels like, it doesn't feel like we're a team that's only been together for a week. It feels like we've been together for a whole year. Like, we can walk up to anybody and be like, "Hey man, how's it going?" and address everybody by name, and you just know how everybody feels, and you can feel that everybody's committed to running and wanting to be here. And it's just really a great feeling to have that full team commitment, and just knowing that it's not really a team anymore. It's pretty much a family. Like, each one of us on the guys' side, we're brothers to each other, and I think the girls' side is just as connected as we are. So this first week has been amazing. It's been so much better than I could have imagined. So,
just looking at the schedule for this year, it's maybe a little bit unusual. There's more Friday meets, and some of them are even in the afternoon or in the evening. How does that maybe change your preparation? I don't know if you prefer morning running but how does that dynamic work for you? Yeah,
it's definitely a very different schedule from this year. Seeing as we cut the Hastings and Doane meets, got rid of those, and then we're running at the Briarcliff course twice. And then for those Friday afternoon meets, those are going to be a lot different. Just getting back in the mindset. It's almost going to feel like high school again, where you're running those meets in the afternoon. But I think as far as getting prepared for those, we practice usually every day at 3:45, 3:50 in the afternoon. So it kind of lines right up with that. So it'll just be a matter of tuning ourselves in that Friday and because it'll be weird going to classes in the morning, just knowing like, hey, I've got a meet I need to be at in 8 hours or whatever. So just staying focused and making sure we get through our day as we need to, and keeping our eye on what we've got later in the day. But I think we're definitely prepared for it.
Well, you already explained the motto a little bit. I was going to ask about that step up, as you mentioned. The last thing, for a lot of the season, I know most of the meets you're competing against at least a portion of the conference. what do you enjoy about that competition where you're seeing maybe a lot of the same people every meet, but how does that play out? I'm sure you get to know some of those other runners on other teams too.
Yeah, it's definitely enjoyable to run against those other teams, so you can get to know how they run, how they race, because there's some teams that they'll run very, very strategically. They'll sit back the first mile or two or whatever, and then they'll start working their way up. So it's really good to run against everybody to get a feel for where they're at, how they race, and then you can also kind of like judge how you're doing on everything, because if you think about like when you're in the middle of the race and you see a guy that you've ran against in 2 other meets, then you know, like, hey, I finished right behind this guy last meet, let's go get on his butt this time and get up behind him and get in front of him and beat him this meet. So definitely running with the same teams over and over against the conference teams helps us out a lot to know where we're at and what we can do against them.